And here we go. Tuesday, October 26th, Ermanni and Edwards. This is The Bottom Line on Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards,
sir.
looking very maize and blue today.
No, I figured I'd bring the athletic side of University of Michigan with the athletic gear. You got the corporate Michigan side covered with the suit and tie with the blue look. So
we're very studious in Ann Arbor.
We're getting everything covered. Excited. Got Dad back in the studio today. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the shirt that he's wearing. However, his daughter, my sister, attends there, so he is in fact a Michigan State dad. So, send some love to Brooklyn, my little sister.
I was gonna say, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, do not adjust your television sets. That is a Michigan State shirt. But if you see, it is a Michigan State dad shirt on Stan Edwards. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine. And this is honoring the smartest Edwards and soon-to-be attorney, Brooklyn Edwards, who is a student at Michigan State University.
It's under protest.
Hey, listen, why don't you tweet this and take a picture and send it to Irvin? Because I know he's going to look at it and say, Stan, let your daughter go to Michigan State. I say, hey,
I'm going to take a picture and do it.
I say, Irv, you need to talk to admissions at U of M. I guess 31 on the ACT wasn't good enough, but I digress. So you guys keep going.
Hey, we all need attorneys. I could use one, too.
I told you weren't the only one, man. His daughter, same thing.
I got that same shirt.
Same
Maybe one size or two, a little bit bigger.
Tom Mazawey, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Hey, guys. Looking forward to another great day. Tuesdays with Stan. Let's go.
And it is one of those weeks that we're very excited about. Again, our friend Paul Bunyan joins us on the dais as well with the Michigan and Michigan State helmets. Braylon, here we go. Michigan already bet up in this game, by the way. It opened as a 3-point Michigan favorite. They have been bet up to a 4.5-point favorite. How in the world that's going on? People love to bet on Michigan, that's for sure. But, both coaches talked yesterday, and you kind of get a sense of where the rivalry is at, how big they know this game to be. And it's just, another day in the process towards game day.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh talked about it a couple years back, 2017. He wasn't keen on making rivalry weeks and making rivalry games such as Ohio State. In fact, he was talking about the Ohio State game, a different game, getting more up, getting his players to think a different way in rivalry weeks than they think in regular ways. And he was very like that. He was much like that with Michigan State. And you saw what happened last year. He didn't take it so much as a strong rivalry, and then he didn't necessarily give Mel Tucker the potential credit to beat him. And you saw what happened. They lost to Michigan State last year, Mel Tucker. He has since talked openly about the Ohio State game and getting those guys ready before they play that game during the season. So I think it's changed in his mind what these games mean. He understands now more than ever the Michigan State rivalry is a huge one. I mean, if you look at Harbaugh, and this is why this game is so important to Harbaugh, and we'll get to Mel Tucker in a second. Dad, I want to get your thoughts on this. If you look at Harbaugh, what have we been talking about Harbaugh since he's been at University of Michigan? He can't win the big one or primetime game. You can't win ranked opponent games, which I guess could be the same thing. You can't win inside the top 10 ranked opponent games. I think I had another one on there as well. Road games and rival games. So that's 5 things. He has a chance to do all 5 in one game. If he wins this game, inside the top 10 win, a ranked opponent win, a primetime win, a rival win, and on the road win. Top 10 on the road. So he has a chance to check all the boxes with one win against Mel Tucker, in which he wants to get back at Mel anyway.
There's a lot at stake in this game for both programs and both coaching staffs. Here's what's interesting about that. I think the loser of this game doesn't fall too far. They don't fall too far. They fall out of favor, and I believe they'll fall out of the top 10, but I think they'll still be in the running for the Big Ten championship, at least the East anyway. Going back to Jim Harbaugh, this is a huge game for him because now it looks like he has the staff that he's always should have had, and he's got the game that really he can start putting a stamp on it. This is why I came back to Ann Arbor, Michigan. So there's a lot at stake for him. I think he's going to be very well prepared based on what we saw last week at Northwestern. And so I look for Michigan to really put their foot down in this game. I'll give you my take and who I think will come out victorious a little bit later.
Stan, Braylon mentioned something about Jim Harbaugh that seems to be a bit of a 180 from him. Over the last couple of years, he did kind of downplay rivalry games. It's just another week. We'll try hard. We'll work hard. That is not the case this year. I mean, he is really coming out talking about, this is a big game. The rivalry is important. Dating back to 2019 when he lost to Ohio State, that was a big knock on Jim Harbaugh, that Ohio State week in, week out did something to beat Michigan every day, had the clock in their weight room, and Michigan just kind of didn't do anything on Ohio State until game week. That has really seemed to change over the last year.
Well, it changed because when he didn't make a huge emphasis on the rival games early on, because I think he sent something before all of us did. I'm not so sure how well we're going to do here. So I may not need to put myself out there as a coach too soon until I realize we have a championship caliber team. 2017, probably, but they still didn't do it. I think now, a couple of things. He needs to emphasize it because he needs to emphasize it, and he has a team that can back it up.
And Maz, as every day that goes forward here, there does seem to be another level of excitement. Monday comes now, Tuesday's here, and we're just one day closer to that game.
Yeah. We're ready. We got Fox coming to town. We've got ESPN coming to town. The students, they're probably not going to sleep on Friday night.
Portnoy's coming to town.
That's right. We got him as well. I mean, this is the place to be. It's Tuesday, man. I'm
Woodward
ready, man.
Sports is coming to town.
Sports
we're going to be there.
That's right. Yeah. Let's go, man. Let's kick it off already. I'm ready.
And I'm extremely excited. You just look at what this, and you talked about it yesterday. This is the first time these teams have both been ranked inside the top 10, and they happen to be undefeated since 1964. Game day's coming inside, and there's always a different level that it takes your campus to when game day comes about. Everybody wants to make a sign. Everybody wants to get up there. Everybody wants to sneak on the show. Everybody wants to surround the set of game day. Game day is energy, and I remember playing when we knew we had a game day. Like it takes it up a notch, in terms of the energy that you feel as a player, because you want to be on ESPN, you want to make a big play, because the nation's watching. The nation's watching this game, and almost when you have an early game, this is a noon kickoff. It is game day. Game day is going to be in Ann Arbor. It almost, to a certain extent, kind of nullifies home field advantage because the players know what they're playing for. The players know who's watching, and then it's an early game. Game day definitely could take away the home field advantage for Michigan State's party.
Let me show you, because yesterday ESPN College Game Day did put out, since we're talking about it, ESPN did put out a video saying that they are going to be in East Lansing. Lots of excitement. Here you go.
This is strictly business. This is Sparta! DJ Snake. Time to show you what we came to do. Boss, only talking, making major moves. Rolls Royce, no top. Me, no one will ever stop. Me against the world, I got my back against the wall. No, I'm hellbound. But I'm well now. On the road to riches, I can never lay around.
Good stuff.
So ESPN puts out their video. Also, the game is on Fox at noon. So Fox big noon kickoff going to be broadcasting live from
showing this game?
East Lansing. I'm telling you, Brady Quinn and big noon kickoff will join us on Friday.
Yes, he will. Brady actually will be joining us Thursday.
We got so many good guests this week. I can't even keep it all straight. That's why I'm not even saying who we got when.
There was a chance that ESPN was going to take their show on the road to the Shoe against Penn State and Ohio State. There was a doubt about that. Matter of fact, the people of Ohio are all up in arms because they come in here. I think Penn State kind of solidified that by laying that egg last week to Illinois in 9 overtimes. I think that game's still going on, Stan.
Yeah, you know what? I don't get the feeling, the true feeling, that both Spartan Nation and Wolverine Nation understand the magnitude and importance of this game. Yeah. It should be like this every year.
Yeah.
And if it just happens to be like this every year, this state could be on fire from an economic standpoint. There's so much can come out of this game if both these teams are ranked in the top 15 and top 10 almost year in and year out.
And Braylon, it seems like, what Stan said, we've wanted that. Haven't we wanted that for some time? I mean, Michigan was high, Michigan State was down. Michigan State is high, Michigan's down. Now they both kind of seem to be, and now that, look, this is Jim Harbaugh's 7th year, and Mel Tucker's getting it done in his 2nd year. We'll talk about that. But they kind of seem to be on par with each other right now. There's not a matchup that I can remember that appears as even on paper as this one does.
First and foremost, Michigan was always up, and Michigan State was always down. And then Michigan has been down ever since. And Michigan State had an emergence, had to correct you there. Then they had an emergence, they took over.
Whatever
and now
I said.
It's been kind of even. But to your point, I don't know if it'll ever go backwards. I think it will stay at this level or somewhere near this level for a long time. And the reason why I say that, if you look at what Mel Tucker has brought to Michigan State, and we'll talk about that later, talking about how they've gotten so good so fast. If you just look at how he's done it, it's not just necessarily him, it's about what he understands. Even if he was to take the job at LSU, I think what he put in place last year and what he put in place this year, it will stay there. Coaches will steal that format. They will at least steal the format and what he's doing. Michigan now understands it too. With Harbaugh, he wasn't so stubborn this year. He's added a bunch of different coaches. He's added some younger coaches, taking a little bit of the ego out of the game, having some fun, letting his players have fun. I think they will stay at this level for quite some time.
I totally disagree. And the only way they don't stay at this level is Mel Tucker's not in East Lansing. I think as long as he's there, I do agree with you. I think they will stay there. Mel Tucker's a different kind of individual. He is an engineer and a straight down. He's not very boisterous. He's not very excited. He's not a great interview. He's not a smooth talker. He's a very, he's kind of Bill Belichick-ish like when in his personality. And the point I mean by that, the coach that comes behind him, if he can't produce that, I'm not suggesting that he has to have the antics or the lack thereof of a Mel Tucker, but Mel Tucker has a very unique way in how he gets to his teams, and everybody won't be able to work it that way. And these teams, if they don't really accept the new guy, although it probably comes off his staff, the way they accepted Mel Tucker, I think Michigan State will drop again if they lose Mel Tucker.
And I don't want to necessarily take away from what Mel Tucker is as a coach, as a recruiter, as an individual that understands how to win, how to fit personnel. I don't want to take away that from Mel Tucker. But at the same time, he's put a format in place. And what I'm saying is people can take the format. Now, they won't necessarily be as good at it. I mean, McDonald's came up with a format. Burger King wasn't as good as McDonald's, but they're still flipping some burgers. Taco Bell and Wendy's, and the list goes on. But they took a formula and a format that existed and kind of ran with it. So he may not be as good as Mel Tucker, but the formula and the format is tried and true.
How many guys took the Belichick format and it just didn't work?
None of them.
All of them. Didn't work for all of them.
And I'm saying Mel Tucker's a different kind of guy. He is. If you listen to him interview, it's like when I saw his press conference when he got hired.
I listened to 30 minutes of yesterday's press conference today and nearly fell asleep.
And that works for his team.
Yeah, very true.
That works for his team. Everybody cannot deliver that way and get what he's getting out of those players.
Conversely, I listened to Harbaugh too for 10 minutes, and that was really out cold. Right. I was drooling.
No, you're right. You're right. Belichick, the disciples, they definitely do not have this success. But when you have Tom Brady, and then when you can talk to players any type of way, because you have all these Super Bowl wins, it stays in place. But when you're Lane Kiffin or you are Josh McDaniel and you go to Denver and you try to talk like Belichick with no rings and no Tom Brady, get the hell out of here.
Matt Patricia, you mean?
I was talking,
I'm joking.
Josh McDaniel, Matt Patricia, Romeo Crennel, and the list goes on.
There's no Tom Brady in East Lansing. In my Bo Schembechler voice.
I knew right away. Hey, gang, lots to get to on a Tuesday afternoon. We are going to take a break. When we come back, you will hear from Jim Harbaugh talking about the importance of the game. We talked about the rivalry, kind of Harbaugh doing a 180 on rivalry games. It seems like publicly, anyway, that he's really excited for it. And, of course, Mel Tucker, what's going on with those LSU rumors? He did address them yesterday. And the rivalry hate. How do you get so many new players up to snuff on an in-state rivalry game? We'll do it all next. This is Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, everybody, it's Maz from MyBookie.ag, our studio sponsors. You know, what's a lock in sports betting? A lock is simply put a bet that can't lose. And with MyBookie, you can't lose on their NBA lock of the season. Check this out. Place a bet on either team to score between the Mavericks and the Nuggets. When the first bucket hits, you win. Let me put it this way. What NBA game has ever gone scoreless? None. That's right. It's a lock, and it doesn't get any easier than MyBookie. And that's not all. You get paid Friday and get up Saturday and throw down on UFC 267. Saturday night, MyBookie's giving all their users a $100 risk-free wager on the light heavyweight championship main event. So don't wait. Go to MyBookie.com now. Use the promo code Woodward. MyBookie will instantly double your first deposit. That is Woodward. Instantly deposit that money right into your account. Double your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Gambling problem? Call 800-720-7117.
Michigan State week, it's always special. You said so many of the questions about this week answer themselves, but I'll try. For you being in this rivalry, being in this game undefeated, how special is this week going to be in preparing for it?
Yeah, I mean, they do. They really do. The questions answer themselves. I mean, how is it special? It's tremendously special. How big is this game? It's huge. What's it like for us? I mean, we're ready to start practice Monday and get rolling, and get our preparation for a team that we really respect. They're playing great football up in Lansing, and it's a huge game. Boys are 7-0 in Ann Arbor, and the boys are 7-0 in East Lansing, and it's a big game.
Yeah, that was Brad Galley, man, and I interviewing Jim Harbaugh up there in Ann Arbor in the field house, which was not there when I was there. It's a brand new field house, so shout out to Michigan for keeping it moving on the forward progress and in the facilities. But when you talk about Jim Harbaugh, I think it's very easy to become a head coach, become a head man as a former player, and people just want them to automatically remember being a player, and they want them to be the fan, be the alum, and be the coach. Sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes you can't just go up there and be the alum and the guy that's rah Michigan. You're trying to come up with a game plan to win. You're trying to figure out how to win. You're trying to figure out what do you have, what is your talent, what's your identity, and how you're going to get it done. And I think that's what he's doing now. Like, he's found a way to, with a better coaching staff, he's found a way to infuse, understanding the rivalry. He's found a way to go back to what it was in 1980s. He's found a way to also tell himself it's okay to worry about Michigan State. It's okay to want to win a rivalry game and want to add that extra element to a rivalry game. It's okay to have that with the, the technique, the skill, the information, the knowledge, the analytics of it all, and put it all together to get the win. Looks like he's having fun. Looks like he remembers playing in the 80s, but also looks like he's going to trust his coaching staff and get the job done in East Lansing.
Everybody's having a good time, Stan, when you're winning. You're 7-0. Yeah. One thing we were talking about yesterday, and I believe this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the play calling has to be a little bit better, and I think the quarterback play has to be better. Jim Harbaugh said at yesterday's press conference that his quarterback is playing winning football and he's not turning the ball over. Two things that are very good and that have gotten him to this point so far at 7-0. Now the season starts, in my opinion, and you need your quarterback to be better than just a guy that doesn't turn the ball over.
100%. Here's what everybody's going to say depending on the outcome of the game. Everybody's going to say, you know what? As I look back on this team's history, whether it's Michigan or Michigan State, and the history meaning what they did early this season, you're going to say, I saw that coming. Mm-hmm. Either they blow Michigan out, or they get blown out by Michigan, or it's this defensive battle. Because we really don't know either team very well. Because either team, in my opinion, has not been tested the way they can be tested on a championship caliber level. So it's going to be interesting for me to see how these coaches actually prepare these teams, who comes out the tunnel ready to fight, who doesn't handle adversity well, because it's going to happen. There's going to be waves, ebbs and flows, and things going to happen. And who's going to panic, and who's going to come out so excited that they can't play, and who's going to come out and think it's another game, and next thing you know, they're going to wake up in the second quarter and be down by 14 points.
Yeah. The big thing about playing Michigan State that, I always knew going into games, and this is what I think is going to be the big moment. This is going to be the big thing, the undervalued thing. Who makes adjustments at halftime? Playing Michigan State when I was there, they never made adjustments at halftime. That's how the triple overtime game happened. That's how the 49-3 game happened. That's how we beat them 28-7 or 28-21 my sophomore year. They didn't make adjustments. Whenever we played Ohio State, Tressel, they always made adjustments. Every time we come out in the second half, they were a new ball team. They were harder to play. They were harder in the second half. Whichever one of these teams makes those adjustments. If we stop Kenneth Walker third in the first half, If they find ways to get him open, they find ways to get ball out of the backfield to Hayward and then come back to him. If they find ways, Michigan's in trouble. On the opposite side, if Jim Harbaugh finds ways, whoever can make those halftime adjustments to get their team going, to change perspective once the second half going. The second half is a new game. It's a whole new game. It's a fresh start. Whoever can make those adjustments, they're going to have their chance, and they're probably going to win that game.
Without question. But, Stan, one thing you were talking about, too, is about being tested. Neither of these teams has really, truly been tested. And that might sound on the surface like a slight, but if you look at this objectively, both teams, their main games, right? I mean, for Michigan, Washington coming into this season was the game on the schedule that you pointed to and said, oh, man, that's going to be Michigan's challenge. Yeah. At Wisconsin, oh, man, Michigan's really got a tough one there. Neither team
and you said the same about Michigan State.
Well, Miami, the road game at Miami, a ranked opponent. Miami's not very good. No. Nebraska, they're a good, decent team, maybe a little bit below average. Neither team has been really, truly faced with adversity in the first 7 weeks of the season. That's not a slight. That's just a fact. So we're going to see what both of these teams are made of come Saturday.
Ryan, keyword, adversity. Because what's going to happen to these players when they slug it out and the opponent doesn't back up and he swings back? And now you're late into the third quarter and you're like, okay, what do we do? That's where real coaching and that's where real character and culture of your team is really going to come out. I'm not so sure. I think Michigan's going to win by 9.
Right.
Because I honestly think Michigan State, because they have so many players on their roster, I don't want to dig in too far into the schedule yet, that really don't know how to play together in adversity. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because Michigan's going to hit them in the mouth. Michigan State's going to hit Michigan in the mouth too. I get that. But I think those players have been together so much, and they look at themselves as, I'm talking about Michigan, we haven't been here before, and we haven't played up, and a lot of us are being responsible for that. And now it's time for us to show who we really are. I'm not so sure Michigan State players can handle that part of it.
I think it's going to be a phenomenal game, and I know I'm not stepping out by saying that. Both these teams, they're unbeaten. Last time that's happened is what, 1964? Did you say that was it?
Last time they were both in the top 10. 1964.
You can't ask for a better game. But last year's game, and I know it's a throwaway game in that COVID year, but that Michigan team was favored by 3 touchdowns, and they lost that game. So that sticks in my craw a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think MSU might have an advantage here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. And to Dad's point, it's one of those things where the DBs at Michigan, including Daxton Hill, they haven't seen wide receiver talent like Reed and Naylor. They haven't seen that. So the first time they go to the line of scrimmage and Naylor hits him with a little in out, a little shimmy, shake, and he runs the top of the route and breaks it down, runs the comeback, Daxton Hill's going to be like, whoa. I haven't seen that yet this year. And vice versa on defense. First time Kenneth Walker tries to get the line of scrimmage, and he can't get through because of Ojabo, because of the line play in Aiden Hudson. Or if he gets through a little bit, and then here comes Josh Ross, one of the hardest hitting linebackers in the Big Ten. It's like, whoa. I didn't know they were hitting like that in the Big Ten, because I've been down there, in the ACC at Wake Forest. So that's what I'm saying. On both sides of the ball, they're going to be seeing something that they've seen for the first time, and it takes an adjustment period. Which players on which side of the ball, on which team, on sideline can get hit and say, you know what? Okay, they're good. I give them that. But now let me bring it back. Or do they get hit and say, damn, I didn't know they were that good. I didn't know that's what it felt like. Man, maybe we are in over our head. Whichever team responds with the first answer has a better shot.
Well, here's where I think it's going to be interesting early on. Michigan is going to protect Cade McNamara with running plays and play calling. They're going to protect him. He's going to just manage, and I don't think he's going to get hit a lot. Peyton Thorne, we will find out what he is made of, because they're going to send people at him, and I think Hayden and the other kid, Hutchinson, they're going to come off the ball. They're going to come off some free blocks, and they might not get the sack, but they're going to let him know they're there, and they might even take a penalty or so if they're close to find out what he's made of. That's why I think early on we're going to really find out where the game's going to go.
Yeah, I agree. Michigan State's defense, they have played well. They've been very consistent. Like I told you yesterday, they tackle well. Have more stats than Michigan, but people have to realize that Michigan, their players have been benched a lot of those fourth quarters this season, a lot of those second halves of the game. They've been benched, not allowed to get as many stats as they could. But, when I'm looking at, once again, Michigan State, I'm looking at Wisconsin too. I know Wisconsin's not the team that they have been. I know they're not the team they have, but they still have a really good defensive line. So when you watch that Wisconsin game and you watch what Michigan was able to do towards the end of the game, they really protected Cade McNamara and let him get the ball down the field. Let him make the throws that he needed to throw. They ran 2-back sets with Haskins and Corum, which confused Wisconsin because now you actually have to be mindful of 2 running backs that either one can get you over 100 and one can get you over 100 in only 9 carries. So I think that's what plays to Michigan when going against Michigan State, is playing that Wisconsin team that was good like that. They know that they can protect and make the plays when it matters.
I want to bring this up to Stan. It's something that Ryan's been on. J.J. McCarthy is waiting in the wings. Now, he thinks that J.J. McCarthy should see a lot more action than he's seen. My point is, if you didn't use him in the first 7 weeks, which I'll call the preseason, how are you going to use him going forward now?
Well, this is not the game for J.J. McCarthy, unless Cade gets hurt. This is not the game you throw him. I mean, unless he's super struggling, where he's not hitting receivers, for some reason he's in a funk in the cloud, and you want to get some kind of spark to your team, that's the only way you play him. I think if Cade is managing the game well, I don't think J.J. needs to come in the game. So, but here's what I will say, though. Peyton Thorne is either going to earn a whole lot of money Saturday, or he's going to go home, look in the mirror, and wonder, am I that guy yet? Because I think there's going to be a lot of heat on him. I'm interested to see how he's going to respond.
How did Michigan State get so good so quickly? We'll break that down. You'll hear from Mel Tucker. Also, you'll hear from him what he had to say about that LSU job and the rumors that have been talked about so much. We'll do it next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, bottom line.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
In this type of rivalry, I believe so. Because it's in your face, and it's not just today, it's every single day. Since the day I've been here, February 12, 2020, there hasn't been a day that's gone by that someone hasn't mentioned to me something about this game.
And that was Mel Tucker at yesterday's press conference talking about Michigan State. And he got hired. What are you shaking your head at me for?
I'm not. I'm just saying I wish this guy was my coach. Oh. I said it before. I'll say it again.
There's something about his delivery that is really, really intriguing. And I get he probably talks to his team differently, but probably not a whole lot different too. There's something about what he says and how it comes across. It's so authentic, and you believe it.
And you got to know, and you got to understand that he really does understand rivalries. If you look at his track record, you look at where he's been. He was at Ohio State. So he understands the importance of Ohio State and Michigan. He's been at Michigan State before with Nick Saban, so he understands to some small extent, but even before he got here, Michigan State and Michigan. He's been at LSU. He understands LSU and Georgia. He's been at Georgia, so he understands Georgia. So he understands, and he was with the Browns when I was there, so he understands the Steelers and the Browns. He understands rivalries. He understands how you get up for rivalries. He understands how it changes the mindset of players. He understands how some players try to do a little bit too much sometimes in those rivalry games. He really understands them. I think it will give him an edge in coaching for the game.
Also, Mel Tucker talked about how this game affects his legacy. This is game number 2 against the Michigan Wolverines. He is 1-0, shooting for 2-0 against the Wolverines.
It's a big game, and we embrace it. I don't try to play down, any expectations or anything like that. I told the players this morning, and I've told them this before. When you have rivalry games like this, at the end of the day, ultimately your legacy and your reputation and really is a lot of it is formed by how you play and how you coach in these games. And so, that's the reality of the situation, which is a good thing, because not everyone has these opportunities to coach and play in these games.
Man, definitely don't have a scotch and watch that late at night. Definitely don't do that.
So that is what I call the rope-a-dope press conference. It's going to lull you to sleep, and really in the back room, when he gets in the laboratory with his kids, he's going to absolutely make sure that they're ready to tear your head off. I think the two guys in this game are the most important people in this game are both offensive coordinators.
Without question.
Ooh, yeah.
Without question.
Their coordinator has come up with some great game plans. I loved in the beginning of the year when they were scoring on the first play. What, 3 games? They scored on the first play?
Yeah. I love State of Miami.
I love the way they call a game. I just do.
Jay Johnson doing a really nice job for the Michigan State Spartans. Conversely, Josh Gaddis doing a nice job at protecting his quarterback, too, when Cade McNamara needs a little bit.
Run, bomb.
Run, bomb, incomplete. Bomb. Run, bomb, incomplete.
Two-back sets. He's got to do more two-back sets.
Run, bomb, pass interference.
I think he has
run.
Gaddis has to do more with the two-back set when he plays against Michigan State. When you have both those backfield, both of those backs, both talented, both can get the job done. And they're different type of backs. When you have both of them in at the same time, it causes the defense to pay attention. Now, if I'm Henderson, I'm safety. I'm looking. I'm like, all right, cool. What are we thinking? Are we going to Haskins? Is it going to be a run up the middle? If I'm Panishik, I'm like, are they going to try to sneak Corum out, throw the ball to him in the flats? So when they have two-back sets, causes the defense to think more. They got to think about that when using it.
I want to sneak over to the Michigan State side. Just focus on them for a second. We talk about Mel Tucker, and I hate to admit this. I really do. How can you not love the guy? I mean, seriously, I wish he.
How do you not?
I'm glad he's Michigan State's coach because I love when the rivalry is like this. This is fun for me.
When you love it.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is just great stuff. Whether it's the cigar whether it's the tweet game, whether it's press conferences like this, whether it's, in the locker room, you see him after the game. Yeah, the guy's awesome. But also, the guy is smart. What makes Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, what makes these guys great coaches? They know the rules.
Yeah.
And Mel Tucker has ingratiated himself into today's college football rules. He has determined that in order to get good quickly, you got to dive into the transfer portal. He did that and treated it like he was an NFL general manager. And he went in there, he got 20 new players in the transfer portal. They have 41 new players come in camp this year than did last year. You want to talk about a guy who got it right off the bat? It's Mel Tucker.
Do you know how that's successful? Do you know how that happens? Do you know how you make that stick and how you make that work? You have to go to your team of players that already exist. You got to go to the core people that have already been there. They've been recruited by Michigan State. They were given scholarships by Michigan State, and they're already on the team. You got to go to those guys like Hayward that have been there, and you got to tell those guys, hey, look, we want to bring in a bunch of new players. We want to add to what Michigan State is. We want to add to the value of it. We want it to work. We have an idea how this could work. We want to use the transfer portal as add our disclosure because we will have some guys that transfer as well that just don't want to be here anymore. But for this to work, you got to be approval. We need your approval. We need you guys to buy in. We need you guys to say, hey, we got some good kids, got this Kenneth Walker III. As long as and this is coming from inside Michigan State, their players are on board. They said, hey, we got Kenneth Walker III coming in. As long as he can help the team, and he's going to buy into what, chopping the wood, keep chopping it. As long as they buy into that, that's how you have success because they've welcomed these new 41 players in. They haven't been like a clique of females where they're over there and they're over there and they're the new females and they're the old females. And it's like, forget these up-and-coming young ones. They're all bonding together, and that's how they're winning. They bought in. And I guarantee you, Mel Tucker went to his current players and asked them to buy in before he brought those guys in.
And guess what else has to happen in addition to that?
They got to be good.
They have to work.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. You can bring players in and they don't work out.
Bad chemistry.
They have bad chemistry. That's great. Yeah. They may not be as good as you thought they were on tape, and you may have gotten sold a bill of goods from the other coach when you did your homework on them. It has to work. They have done a great job in identifying talent, character, and fit, i.e. chemistry.
Hey, the good news is we're going to win a championship. The bad news is most of you won't be here for it.
Okay, Mike Ditka.
All right, Ditka.
That was a story. Who was the gentleman that joined us from the Bears? The radio call
for the Bears.
Tom Thayer.
Tom Thayer joined us the week of the Lions and Bears and told the story when Mike Ditka was hired by the Bears.
Yeah.
Walks into the room and he says, "Men, I've got good news and bad news. The good news, we're going to win a Super Bowl. The bad news, most of you won't be here when we do."
I think we were at was that Big Boy?
Yeah, no, that was at
Hall.
We were at Hall
Financial.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest stories.
Love it.
that I ever heard.
85 Bears.
This is an exciting game. How long will Mel Tucker be in this game? That he talked about the LSU rumors. We will get to that next. Also, some strong. You want to talk about a strong denial?
Oh man,
Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's how you do it.
With the biggest, most impressive denial of all time when it comes to leaving for another job. You will hear all of those next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network. The bottom line.
Do you know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, gang. Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff like football 5 days a week. We like things that are uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. All you got to do, walk in, sign in, sit down, and before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Get to Lady Jane's today. Get there any day because we're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Don't do it. Do it.
Wicked awesome. But I was away from the mic.
Name came up in a few reports recently about LSU potentially being interested in you. I was wondering what your thoughts are on that and just kind of the timing of it coming mid-season.
Yeah, my focus is on the upcoming game versus school down the road, and that's where my concentration on my focus is, and I really appreciate you understanding that.
All right. School down the road.
Yeah, right.
Where did he learn that from?
That's like, we're going to go play Ohio next week.
I hate that
Brady.
stuff.
I
trust it.
hate that.
School up the road.
It's like
garbage.
X out the M's and stuff like that.
It's
Ohio
Michigan
State.
and Michigan State,
Right.
okay? Jesus Christ.
Geez, how hard is that? That was Mel Tucker talking about the LSU rumors, and obviously, you know,
He gone.
no matter how he's going to address it, that, I don't know, that was not a denial, Braylon.
Yeah, you know, and at the end of the day, actually, my dad sent me something, or I sent it to my dad somehow. My dad sent it to me, I think. You know.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, my dad sent it to me.
It's always a dad. That's right.
It is a dad thing, but no, that was actually something else. We'll get to that too. That's actually James Franklin. But with Mel Tucker, I mean, he definitely denied it. He definitely was in denial with the comment. He definitely left the door open for speculation. Like I said, we're focused on the team down the road, but this is going to come up again and again and again until he finally has to make a decision, or until he's finally walking out of that door of East Lansing to go to Baton Rouge.
I am 90% sure he gone.
Wow.
And the reason why I say that is because look at his track record in history. He has always tried to find the better job.
Yeah.
Michigan State is not the top of the mountain job. It's an absolutely outstanding job, but there's probably 10 to 12 to 15 better jobs in the country. So not only that, and when he got the job in East Lansing, he took a lot of criticism from a lot of people out of East Lansing that didn't want him there. So I think when the opportunity is right, he's out of there.
Why is that, by the way?
I have no idea.
Who don't like him?
I don't know. And they could be because he's off of Saban's staff. Because Nick Saban said, you know, he used the excuse, I got to leave East Lansing because Michigan State is a basketball school, not a football school. No, people in the know, and I don't know if I'm one of them or not, said Nick Saban was not well liked, was not supported in East Lansing, which is this is the real reason why he left. And maybe being part of his staff is one of the things that's going to push Mel Tucker out as well.
You want to hear a denial? So there's about 5 or 6 names associated with the USC position,
including James Franklin.
Who I disagree. I think he's one of the ones that might sneak and go to LSU. Mark my words.
Either way, One of the names associated with the USC job is longtime Steelers coach Mike Tomlin. Well, Mike Tomlin was asked about this today. You want to hear denial? Here you go.
Guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
Oh, do I love my guy?
My drop. That's my drop.
I mean,
that's how you do it right there. And I even like how I even like insert here. Coach that's had success, that's not having success right now, that's won a Super Bowl. That, you know what I'm saying, on opposition. You're not asking Andy Reid that type of question.
Was Sean Payton asked about it, though, before Harbaugh was hired here? I think Sean Payton was, because
Michigan was offering it to everybody.
Sean Payton was rumored to come here to Michigan.
Michigan was offering anybody that had success at the high level to come here, and eventually they got who they wanted, which the Giants
would take him.
Jim Harbaugh.
Well, Mike Tomlin is the total opposite of Jim Harbaugh in an interview, and Mel Tucker. Mike Tomlin's going to give you something at a press conference every time. And he loves being in front of the microphone, and he loves for you to stick your neck out there so he can chop it off.
Stan, I wanted to bring this up to you. James Franklin hired Jimmy Sexton as his new agent. And Braylon, you can tell me more about Jimmy Sexton. He is like the king of the SEC, is he not?
Yeah, he represents most of the hierarchy of the SEC, including Nick Saban. He also is the #1 power broker for the SEC in terms of player relations or managerial / coaching relationships with schools. That tells you a lot about what James Franklin can do.
He's for sure gone.
Yeah, he's for sure gone. But he's hired the guy that has the #1 representation in the SEC, while one of the #1 jobs in the SEC is on the table and is open. I know a lot about Mel Tucker in terms of what people are talking. Don't count out James Franklin going down to LSU.
Well, James Franklin is Lane Kiffin. These two guys, they're going to mess something up. But they're going to do something very well, too, all the time. You can count on both of them making a fool of themselves and recovering and doing well.
I was going to say, what in the world am I missing on James Franklin here?
I know.
Like, seriously, what? Right. I mean, okay, you make it to a Big Ten championship game, whatever the case may be. Is that the be-all, end-all? Like, what have you done in order for your name to be associated with some of the preeminent jobs in college football? And, oh, by the way, it's not like the Penn State job is some chopped liver job here.
Yeah, in 2011, 2012, if you would have bought up taking over at Penn State University, people would have told you hell no. Because everybody knew what they were going through after the Jerry Sandusky deal. After the Sandusky deal, and then they fired Joe Pa, and then they take down Joe Pa's statue, Penn State was in ruins. Nobody wanted that job. It was tough. Kids weren't going to go. Parents damn sure didn't want their kids to go to that school because of all the things that were going on. They bring in James Franklin. James Franklin turns that program around without 5-star recruits, without 4-star recruits, darn near without 3-star recruits. Turn that program around. Not only did he turn around, you look at what he's done over the past 4 years. He's won a Big Ten championship, which means they had to beat Ohio State. He beat Ohio State to get to the Big Ten championship. And then they had that shootout against Wisconsin. Almost won the Rose Bowl. It was a hell of a game with, I think, Sam Darnold. It was a great Rose Bowl. They didn't win it, almost won it. And he's been to 2 Big Ten title games, and he's won 1. He's beat Ohio State, which is something that no one else in the East can seem to do.
I guess
Michigan State did. Yeah. Michigan State did consistently for
6 years ago. We're talking about in the last 5.
Yeah, Ryan, you asked the question, what is it about James Franklin? What I think it is when he's in front of the microphone at the podium, he's a combination of Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. He will not make a mistake. Even when he has to answer bad questions, even when they lose, you will not hear him fluster. You will not hear anything. He'll make an excuse that doesn't make sense, but he's going to deliver it the right way. So I've got to believe he's that way when he's with his athletic director, boosters, and in the living room with the family.
Can I go back to that Mike Tomlin denial for a second? Like, you know, where is that frustration coming from? I can understand the denial, but then the anger towards the question itself, because I would almost be flattered, right? I would almost be flattered. Now, there is a difference between, and please, somebody at Michigan State is going to take offense to what I'm about to say. I'm sorry, but there is a difference between being rumored to leave the Michigan State Spartans football team and being rumored to leave one of the best jobs in all of sport, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, why the anger about that question?
Well, I'll tell you, because Mike Tomlin, and I know him fairly well, is an angry black man who loves theatrics. He loves the microphone. He loves being there. And he's kind of an angry guy. And don't you dare question who he is, because he's going to tell you what he thinks.
Yeah, also, I mean, look at what Mike Tomlin has accomplished since he's been there. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won a ton of AFC North titles. I mean, although for a while that didn't mean anything. But he's beat Baltimore consistently, in the past. He's had a Hall of Fame career in Pittsburgh. And barring some injuries, obviously, they haven't prepared to get rid of Ben Roethlisberger. I think that's the biggest issue that the Steelers have done. They have not prepared for when Ben Roethlisberger hangs them up. They're not prepared for that. So that's the biggest thing I think they're doing wrong. But they're having a bad year. They had a bad playoffs. They had a bad rest of the season last year.
And bad injuries.
Bad injuries. You've had all the Michigans between, Le'Veon Bell. They lost him due to some things. They lost Antonio Brown. They've lost a bunch of players. They've lost some credibility. They lost some respect. So if you start adding all that up, he's been dealing with that for the past 5-6 years. And now they're having another year where you're questioning. Just think about that division, Tom. Just think about that division. The Steelers have always been on top, or they've been right up under Baltimore. Yeah. They've never had to worry about anything else. Well, guess what? The Cleveland Browns are ahead of the Steelers. The Baltimore Ravens are ahead of the Steelers. The Cincinnati Bengals are ahead of the Steelers. You mix in all this, he's mad as hell.
You bet he is.
He's mad as hell.
You're damn right.
And now you ask him a question like, are you going to go here? He's just fed up with everything. On top of he's a very theatrical coach.
I think Stan was fed up wearing that Michigan State shirt, too. He had to put the Michigan sweatshirt back on.
I was feeling kind of, anybody got any antibacterial lotion I can put on?
I think we got some hand sanitizer down.
One of the great things, too, about both you gentlemen have played in this game. Your record against Ohio State, and your record against Michigan State.
Absolutely.
Stan, what's your record against Michigan State?
When I played in the game, it's 4-0.
4-0.
Now, I was there 1 year when we lost, but I was in street clothes because that was my redshirt year. Had I played, it would have been 5-0.
I do want to make mention, the year that you lost, you had mentioned before the show, Kirk Gibson was on that team,
That
right?
was 1978. That was Kirk Gibson year. And they had an outstanding team that year. They were so good.
And Mr. Braylon Edwards, your record in the game?
I'm the same exact way.
The Michigan State game. The game many would say is Michigan.
When I played in the game, I was 3-0. That was my sophomore year, my junior year, my senior year, and I got off every game. But my freshman year was the infamous clock game, and it was the last-second catch by T.J. Duckett to win the game. Shout out to T.J. Duckett there. I didn't play in that game, although I dressed. I didn't play. So technically, I'm 3-0 with an asterisk, or 3-1 with an asterisk.
That's the backyard brawl, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, the backyard brawl. Going to get back into some college football. Top of the hour, we have Brandon Brown from Sports Illustrated. Stan, if I can keep you for one more segment, I want to ask you about moral victories. Detroit Lions, fair or foul? Got to ask about that. We'll do it next. Ermanni and Edwards on a Tuesday.
Woodward Sports Network.
You'll be dying to get your hands on Papa Romano's gruesome twosome. This spectacular deal gets you 2 large, 1-topping pizzas for a limited time for $19.99. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
In tech, start a new career in an industry. Start a new career in an industry that is always essential. That is right. Heating and cooling is always essential. Start right now. You want to learn more today? Go to northwesterntech.edu and you can find out how to make $77,000 right out of the gate. Northwestern Tech, baby.
It's a good number right out of the gate. You know what I made out of the gate? $15,500 right out of the gate.
You were loaded.
Oh, man, that $500, man. That was good.
That's a lot of DoorDash and Uber Eats nowadays.
Man, I wish I could have done that on the side back in the day. Guys, I want to get into some Detroit Lions talk. Stan, I want you to have an opportunity to weigh in on what we saw in Los Angeles.
The Super Bowl.
On Sunday, which really, look, the schedules came out, and that's the game you pointed to. That's the game you circled on your calendar.
Right.
They played hard. In the end, they turned the ball over at the goal line with a chance to take the lead. They didn't make the plays, and they lost to a team that was more talented than they were.
Well, it's interesting. The national story is, can you see how these guys play for Dan Campbell? Everybody knows it. These guys are playing hard. That was such an exciting game that I knew they were going to lose. And it was exciting because they came to play. They didn't just fly out there and, just like rollover did and just kind of get beat. No, they, trick play after trick play and the receivers, the young receivers trying to grow up a little bit, I was really, really impressed, and I felt good about that game. I'm not big on moral victories, but that was one of them.
Yeah, I agree. And anybody tells you that moral victories don't exist, they're lying. I played in the NFL. My dad played in the NFL as well as college. Coaches, there are times when coaches will tell you something like, hey, you know what, we played a hell of a game. That was a hell of a ball team. That was a hell of a team that we played against. And then coaches understand that they're undermanned, and they threw everything, including the kitchen sink, at the Los Angeles Rams to try to get this game. When I was watching this game, I actually watched it with Dad. Dad makes some amazing chicken.
Heard about
on Sunday. But,
Stan seasoning.
Oh, man, there it is. When I'm watching the game, I see fake punt success, fake punt success. I see onside kick success. I see changing up of the pace of the flow. Like, have you ever watched those movies, those war movies where the team, one army, which is usually the good army, is way outmanned, and the other army has 1,000 troops, and then the good team, like Mel Gibson and Braveheart, like 300 in Sparta, they do all types of tricks, and they try to confuse the other army, and they hide people way over here, and they dig trenches and gutters to try to get the win, and they don't. They fight off as long as they can. They delay the armies. They win a couple battles, but they ultimately lose the war. That's what you saw from Dan Campbell on this past Sunday in the Detroit Lions. They won a lot of battles in that game. They didn't win the war, but they won a lot of battles. But you respect them because they did everything that they could to win.
And I'm a winner by heart, meaning I struggle just watching teams that are just not going to be victorious. I look forward to watching this team every Sunday because I think I'm going to be entertained and I'm going to see people who care about trying to win the game. So I look forward to watching them every Sunday.
They laid one egg. It was against the Bengals. And it turns out that Bengals team is pretty damn
absolutely.
good.
Absolutely.
I mean, did you see what they did to the Ravens on the road? I mean, that was I think they beat the Lions by the same score.
Yep, basically.
Right? Something like that, 41-17.
It's the NFL. A lot of people are going to lay eggs, but it's about how you respond. Like, just look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs, we crown them the greatest thing ever, and you see they're laying eggs, and everybody's laying eggs. How do you respond? The Detroit Lions laid an egg against Bengals, and they came back against one of the better teams, and for some, one of the best teams in the league. They gave it everything they had. They fought to the last second. So that's how you come back. And I'm proud to watch them every Sunday and see what they're going to do.
Stan, this Sunday, the Eagles in town. First of all, do you think that's the win? Second of all, Chris Spielman gets his number up in the rafters. He goes into the Ring of Honor. What did you think of his career?
Well, this weekend better be because this is the Detroit Lion former alumni reunion weekend. So I'll be there in person.
Sweet.
Chris Spielman, I got a real quick Chris Spielman story.
Say that 3 times fast.
Exactly. So when we played the Lions in the Astrodome,
the House of Pain,
Chris Spielman caught Mike Rozier and dumped him in the backfield. We ran the exact same play, the very next play, and Mike Rozier stepped in Chris Spielman's chest. Chris Spielman, to me, was the epitome of a guy who was guts and glory. He came to play all the time, a little bit undersized, but he was very tough, and he played a lot bigger than his size even helped him out.
One of the things, too, with the Detroit Lions, and Dan Campbell, I want to ask you guys about, he kind of changed his message, too. I was listening to a little bit of the Monday press conference from Dan Campbell and Braylon. One of the things that he said was, I don't want to hear about how talent deficient we are anymore. That's not an excuse anymore. We're not talent deficient. And the first thing that I thought of was, well, then you're not giving yourself an excuse for all these losses here.
Yeah. He can't say that.
Right?
Yeah.
He cannot say that. He has to support every 53 plus 11 guys that are on, the practice squad. He has to support them. So he cannot say, hey, we're not good enough because of this guy, this guy, this guy. Because then what's going to start happening is like, we're not good because of that coach, that coach, that coach.
Right.
So he's got to be careful.
Yeah, also, your players don't want to hear you go up there and agree with people when, analysts or outside forces say that, well, you guys are talent deficient, so we understand that, but some of the coaching, you don't want to as a player hear coach agree with that. Like he said, well, we are a little deficient right now at the wide receiver position, but we block. If I'm a wide receiver, I'm like, wait, what? Did he just call me deficient? Am I some, you don't want to hear that, and he understands that. So you dispel that by saying that. But in the back of his mind, he knows what he's working with. We talk about the teams that are winning. Teams that are winning they have players that go to the Pro Bowl. They have players that are all pro. They have players that are second team all pro or right at that level to get into the Pro Bowl, into the playoffs, into the Super Bowl. So he understands what he has when he's off camera.
And Stan, one thing that Braylon and I talked about yesterday was on that interception that Jared Goff threw at the goal line, down by 6 with a chance to take the lead, essentially, was who was in his face? Aaron Donald, who picked it off, Jalen Ramsey. Those two players in that one play signified everything you need to know about the Detroit Lions this season. They don't have anybody the caliber of those two players on their roster.
Not many do.
Yeah, which is interesting because I'm not sure, and I think they talked about it on TV as well. I don't think he was throwing to the receiver that Jalen Ramsey was covering. He was throwing to somebody else. Jalen Ramsey was just in the neighborhood, and he went and picked it off. That's a good way to – if Jalen Ramsey's on this side of the field, you got to throw to the other side.
Aaron Donald had something to say about where that ball went to.
Absolutely.
So you gave me your Michigan prediction, Michigan by 9 over Michigan State. Do you have a prediction on the Lions this week? Because I think many of us are pointing to this game as the one that they absolutely have to win. If not now, then maybe you're looking at the Bears on Thanksgiving Day.
I think if Jared Goff plays a solid game, I think they have a chance of winning by 4.
Yeah, and that's a big if.
Yeah.
He can ride the wave. I mean, you see the one thing that you see, if you can have that type of success against the Los Angeles Rams on the road with what they have in their defense, and obviously I know you had some trickery, some wizardry in there, but at the end of the day, you still had to go out there and execute. You still had to go out there and defend, and they did so. So if you can go out there and play like they did, you see they opened up with Swift. You got Swift out the backfield.
I like him.
You see what Jared Goff was able to do. You talked about chances and opportunities. Khalif Raymond was able to get an opportunity to make some plays. Guess what? He made them. So the more and more you can do that, if they can just take that and operate with it, don't turn the ball over, that's right. They definitely have a shot.
Hey, Stan, talk to me. How does Stan Edwards watch the Michigan State game? I know you'll be at the Lions game on Sunday.
Question.
Give me a Stan Edwards Michigan viewing game here experience.
My feet are up and a remote control in my hand because the game is in East Lansing, Michigan. I dare not step foot in East Lansing, even if I'm in green and white, because all I need to hear is, there's Braylon Edwards' dad, and I'm too old to run.
He's going to blame it on me. That's Braylon Edwards' dad.
It's so funny because I went back
You're
earlier.
the one that's 4-0 against him.
Right. Earlier today, I went back.
Those kids weren't born then.
And exactly. I don't know if those kids were born when I was in college. I went back today and I watched your 3-touchdown game in 2004. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I got all the feels just watching that game. When you see stuff like that, what is that like for you? And conversely, when you see stuff like that, what is that like? Like those highlights. This week you see all the highlights.
The interesting thing about that game, most games you see the highlight, you remember exactly what was going on at that very moment. I think my dad pointed this out to me, is sometimes every once in a while, like a player in any sport, this is any sport. Look at Lucas Raymond the other night. He getting his first hat trick. You get to this point where you're unconscious. You get to this point where you are just a player, you're there, but you're outside your body, and you're watching yourself just zone out like the Terminator. Like there's a play you'll see after I caught the second touchdown to tie the game, before we went to overtime, caught the second touchdown. When I'm on the sideline, I'm just zoned out. I can't see anybody or see anything. And the same thing happened at the end of the game after overtime 51. I saw Dad, after the game, and I still was like, or this is before the game, actually, before it was over. You tell the story at that point.
Well, is this the second one? This one?
Yes, this is the touchdown, I think. And I think I saw my dad after this. You talk about a little bit, Bob.
Well, here's what's interesting about that entire game. Number one, it was 75 degrees at kickoff. By the end of the third overtime,
40.
It was about 38 to 40 degrees. And
dark.
The true story.
No lights.
Halfway through the third quarter, I got up and I didn't say anything in the stands, and I'm heading toward the car. And Carolyn, my wife, asked me, "Where are you going?" I said, "They're not throwing him the ball, and we're getting our butt kicked. I'm not staying in this stadium." She said, "Sit down." And because she had the car key, I had to sit and watch the game. And then they slowly started to chip away back. I wasn't satisfied until his third touchdown.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering what coaching staff is coaching this game. For some reason, are we point shaving? Why are we giving Michigan State this game? Because I didn't understand how. Because at that point in his career, he was a top receiver in the United States of America.
Right.
And you're not going to him and we're losing? I'm out of here.
27-10 with 6.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I remember watching that, cover that game for TV, and I'm like, what in the world is happening? And then 27-13, 27 onside kick, overtime,
Speaking of onside
touchdown,
kicks,
you know?
Right.
Brian Thompson with the onside recovery, man. Yeah. So.
Hey, Stan, thanks so much. Can't wait till next Tuesday. Hopefully we're talking about a Michigan victory. I'll go out on a limb and say that. I at least want that anyway.
Everyone knows that, right?
Yeah. I think that's what we're going to be discussing.
I hope so. I hope so. Stan Edwards, my friend, he joins us every Tuesday. We are going to take a break.
Yes,
when we come back, we'll be joined by our good friend Brandon Brown, Wolverine Digest, Sports Illustrated. We'll do that next. Michigan State Week, folks. Buckle up. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Hey, gang, if offense wins games, you know defense wins championships. Don't you want to be the championship defender of your home? Of course you do. So let Guardian Alarm help you. They're your local security experts. They have been for over 90 years. 24/7 local monitoring. Also convenient features that let you check in on your home. Control your lights, temperatures, detect smoke, carbon monoxide. Even going to let you lock and unlock your doors. The number to call is a simple one. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts for over 90 years.
Shout out to my boy Tom T. Remember DJ Tom T?
DJ Tom, right? Big supporter of the show, great guy.
Yes, he is. He does his disco sessions. He's live right now, so don't go watch right now unless you have 2 devices, but definitely at 4 o'clock. Jump over to DJ Tom on Instagram.
That is absolutely great stuff. Great guy. Also, another great guy, Brandon Brown, Wolverine Digest, Sports Illustrated. Kind enough to give us a couple of minutes here on Woodward Sports. Brandon, how you doing, bud?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And first off, we'll come out and ask you, look, everybody knows 1964, last time these two programs have been top 10 teams. Jim Harbaugh at his press conference yesterday, Mel Tucker in East Lansing. Just the sheer magnitude of this game is what to you?
It's huge. I mean, the entire college football world is going to be on hand in East Lansing. College game days there. Fox's Big Noon Kickoff. The Barstool dudes are going to be there. I mean, like, everybody's going to be getting at least a taste of that game leading up to the pregame, and then obviously at noon. It's the biggest game of the weekend. Top 10 matchup, like you said. Both of them 7-0. I believe that's the first time they've ever been undefeated this far into the season. It's huge. I mean, it's absolutely huge in the Big Ten East. It's huge on a national scale. It's huge for playoff implications that are coming up next week. It's as big as it gets. It's as big as it gets this weekend for sure.
Brandon, I'll be totally honest with you. I was less than impressed with Michigan on Saturday. I don't think you can give 2.5 quarters of football away and win the game this week. And I thought that's what they did against Northwestern. Talk to me about the quarterback play. What do you think Josh Gaddis has to do? What do you think Caden McNamara has to do? I don't believe you can just not turn the ball over and expect to win the game. Like, that's your goal for the quarterback position. Caden McNamara is going to have to make plays. How do you see Michigan's quarterback play?
This has been one of the hottest topics and one of the weirdest things to talk about all season, because it's like the people who are Camp Cade and just love everything he's doing are like 7-0, and like how do you really argue that? I mean, like, that's a pretty good argument. I understand. But if you watch what he does throw after throw, and early on in the season what the coaches were asking him to do, or rather not asking him to do, throwing, 5 passes the entire second half against Rutgers in a tight game, completing 1 pass in an entire fourth quarter of close game. Like, you're not getting what you need out of your quarterback. And I understand he's only turned it over once. He's only been sacked a couple times. They actually get points on 90% of their drives inside the red zone. Not as many touchdowns as they'd probably want, but they're still getting points. He's taking care of the ball. It is a really weird dynamic at that quarterback position, because, again, 7-0. They've won every game they've played. He hasn't made a lot of mistakes, but I don't know if he's the kind of guy that can win you a game if you need him to. He hasn't had to do it yet. And that's really kind of crazy to think about, that 7 weeks into the season, he hasn't had to go be a baller. I mean, he's done enough. The running game's been incredible. The defense has been don't break, and they don't give up a lot of big plays or a lot of scores. But you're just not getting, like, level elevating play out of Cade McNamara. And anybody who thinks that he's doing that, I don't think is paying attention.
Talking to Brandon Brown over here. Brandon, how you doing, man? Braylon over here. I want to ask you 2 things. I don't want to just ask you, what does Michigan have to do to win? What does Michigan State have to do to win? I don't want to ask you that. What part of the game are you scared of for the Michigan Wolverines, and what part, in terms of what you don't like that they do, and for the Michigan State Spartans, what are you nervous of that they do extremely well? Like, just answer those 2 questions for me, please.
Yeah, I think it's the receivers. I think it's the speed at receiver for the Michigan State Spartans, and the fact that the DBs at Michigan haven't really been tested by guys like that yet this year. Speedy Naylor, Trey Mosley, even, who doesn't get as much shine as the other 2 guys. Jaden Reed obviously is kind of the star. I expect Daxton Hill to kind of be locked up with him all day long. But that's a dynamic receiving group that Michigan hasn't really faced yet. So I think, Michigan State seems to be good for a handful of big plays every week, and Michigan's pretty good at limiting big plays. So it's kind of, a good matchup there. We'll see who gets the upper hand. And yeah, man, it just comes back to the quarterback play. I think if Michigan State can scheme something up and do enough to slow the run game down, I just really wonder if Cade McNamara has enough in the toolbox to make enough big plays to get Michigan into the end zone to score touchdowns, because I don't think you can settle for field goals in this game, and that's what they've had to do a lot of times. I think once they get inside the red zone, they're kicking field goals 60% of the time, I think is the number. 60% of the time they're scoring touchdowns. Yeah. So that's in the bottom half of the country. So the touchdowns inside the red zone hasn't been good enough. And I think you're going to have that on the road in this game, because Michigan State can score and they can make some big plays.
But they are definitely in the top. They're 91% in the red zone as a whole, which is tops in the country. I think I just won rock, paper, scissors, so I get to ask 2 questions in a row. Brandon, here's another good one for you.
That's how we do it here. We're very official, Brandon.
When we're not on, we're like, hey, okay, I got the next
just
question.
Like the kickoff.
Just like the high school, the kickoff games now. Let me ask you this question. For Harbaugh, talk about what this game means to Harbaugh. And I think, it's easy to be 7-0 and kind of forget about what was going on before the season started. The season starts, they lower his salary. A lot of questions out there. Everybody's like, this is the make or break year for Harbaugh. He's 7-0, so you forget about that. Everything they said he can't do, this game encompasses it all. You talk about winning on the road. You talk about the rivalries. Talk about ranked opponents. Talk about inside the top 10. Talk about head-to-head, the big night. Talk about what this means to Harbaugh.
It's monumental. It is. And I don't think it matters how it looks. I don't think it matters if Michigan wins by 20, wins by 2, loses by 2, loses by 20. The outcome is the outcome, and it's going to drive the narrative. Jim Harbaugh, you mentioned it, the offer against ranked teams on the road. I mean, he would fall to 0-2 against Mel Tucker. He would fall to 3-4 overall against Michigan State. I mean, you can probably start to, kiss the chance to Indy goodbye with a loss here. It's everything. I mean, it's every single thing all kind of coming to a head this one weekend against the rival in East Lansing, Paul Bunyan. I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely huge, and I think the buzz in both directions will be huge depending on how this game plays out. If Michigan wins, the buzz is going to be, well, he got this monkey off his back. He did this. He went on the road. They're still undefeated. They're still moving. He's over 500 against Michigan State. And then the polar opposite if they lose. I mean, you fall to 0-2 against Mel Tucker in a rebuild. Only his second season. You were brought in to turn the tide against Michigan State. It looked like you were doing that, and now all of a sudden, 7 years in, you're 3-4 against the Spartans. So it's massive. It's absolutely massive. And I think, you mentioned the 7-0 start, and that quieted a lot of people. It's going to be as loud as it's ever been if they can't get this done on Saturday. But on the flip side, you're going to have a lot of people talking about what he's been able to do this year, and maybe his best coaching job since he's been at Michigan if they can win on Saturday.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Brandon, and we don't talk about that a lot because of the 7-0 start. Is it possible that we are sitting here, and again, I hate to talk about hypotheticals because the game hasn't been played yet, and honestly, I do believe Michigan's going to win.
Yeah.
Coming
Vegas
from a Michigan
too.
guy, whatever the case may be, will there be legitimate calls for Harbaugh to be gone if you look at this and you're losing to Michigan State, you lose to Ohio State again? I mean, how much longer can that go?
I know. I mean, that question's crazy if they're sitting there at 7-1. But again, you look at where the overall stance is against Michigan State. We're still several weeks away from it, but look at how Ohio State looks right now, and if Michigan does end up losing this weekend, I mean, at the end of the season, if they're 10-2 and you have 2 more losses to Michigan State and Ohio State, like what do the 10 wins really mean?
Right.
At that point? And so I know we've got a lot of games to play before we can get into that, but it's hard not to look at those discussions when you're sitting at 7-0 and you've got this massive game coming up, and the 3 toughest games of the entire schedule are still to be played. Michigan
No offense,
State,
but
Penn State, Ohio State.
Not to cut you off, Brandon, but especially if you lose this game when what many people believe the better quarterback's on the bench, how that will play. Tom, I'm sorry I cut you off 3 times.
No, it's okay, brother. I was going to ask you on the other end, Mel Tucker, where is his legacy right now? Well, he's 1-0. He's put the Spartans back on the map. We've talked about 40 new players coming in, 20 on the transfer portal.
Yeah.
He's done miracles with this team to get them where they are. Now there's the rumor that he might want to go and leave and get a better job than this. And we're talking about LSU. What's your take, Brandon?
I just put an article up on this about a half an hour ago. And, he's got ties to the program. We know the dude doesn't really have a problem lying a little bit. I mean, you can go back and find that tweet, where he's just praising Colorado, and 4 days later he's the coach at Michigan State.
Go Buffs.
And I think it's noteworthy that he's being asked about LSU on the Monday of his press conference with Michigan, 5 days away. Like that's noteworthy to me. And he didn't really shoot the rumors down or come flat out and deny it. He just said, "I'm focusing on the game this week. I really appreciate you understanding that." As players are being asked about it, I think there's some legitimacy there. I mean, for a while, he was the favorite, I know, in Vegas to be LSU's new head coach. I don't think he is anymore. But, yeah, I mean, that's a distraction. I've never really bought into the whole – I don't think it's going to affect much of what they do this week at all. I really don't. But it's there. It's being talked about. It's something that he's having to address. It's something that his players are having to address. And, I think there's some legitimacy to it. I've heard that people at LSU are pretty high on him. So, we'll see what happens as the season moves forward.
I hear Daddy Duty calling right now.
Yeah, he's sitting.
He's right there.
This is like Nick Saban's press conference.
Put him on camera like Nick Saban.
I'll grab him.
Let's go.
There
we go.
Let's go for it.
Hey, look, this is 2021.
Yeah.
This is how it goes, man.
Exactly.
This is it.
It's almost weird if you don't hear a kid crying.
Give him a football.
I know.
Introduce him. You got to introduce him, Brandon.
Introduce him.
Oh,
Here
what's
we go.
up, buddy?
This is Sullivan.
Hey,
This is Sullivan.
Sully.
What's up, Sully?
How are you,
Right.
kid?
He will be. Can you wave?
Sullivan, what's your
He
record
just got up a little bit ago.
against Michigan State, Sullivan?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's 0-1. Yeah,
about to say, he's 0-1.
Brandon, we're going to let you go because you got daddy duties, more important. But last thing.
He was doing so good over there too. I had him hooked up with the iPad, and now, there you go.
Hey, I'm already on the train. If Harbaugh didn't win this year, I wanted him gone last year, to be perfectly honest, as a Michigan fan. If he loses this game, he's going to lose to Ohio State. Who would be next in line here? I'm just cut to the chase.
Oh, man.
Sean Payton.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I think if you had asked me that question last year, I was a pretty big fan of Matt Campbell, and I still like a lot about him. Iowa State has struggled a little bit more this year, but he's done a lot with very little there at Iowa State. He's had one 4-star recruit his entire time. Like, that's it. Like, he really doesn't belong on the field with Oklahoma and Texas and those programs, and he beats them sometimes. They're struggling a little bit this year, but I liked a lot about him. But I don't know. I'd have to do a much deeper dive and a lot more research to throw out some legitimate names. But that's where I was about a year ago, but I think I've backed off of that a little bit.
All right, we'll talk to you next week then.
Well, stop it, Matt. Hopefully you do not have to do that. Brandon Brown, Wolverine Digest, Sports Illustrated.
Appreciate you.
And Sullivan as well. Thanks so much, guys. Absolutely. Follow Brandon on Twitter at BSB_Wolverine. Always a great follow. And, of course, writing about the Michigan Wolverines. That's awesome stuff. I love that.
Sully.
I knew he was on daddy duty, and the kid was great the whole time. But then I heard him in the background.
It's so
I got those dad ears.
Welcome to 2021, man. Everybody's doing the best they can, man.
Absolutely.
I feel bad, when I was working from home for a little bit, you got those kids, their iPads on the ground. My wife's doing it. A lot of moms are doing it. A lot of dads are doing it. So good stuff. Hey, we're going to talk about some college football.
I got a question about that.
You do?
I'll wait. It's about the rankings. I'm just, we'll talk about it in the next segment.
Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
All right, we're going to get...
Top 25, baby.
Well, yeah. Do you have it, Alex, or not? Okay, here we go. Bob Ufer, 40 years ago, he passed away today. We want to honor him. 1979, Bob Ufer. Take a listen.
Today, the Michigan Football Network has moved its play-by-play microphones to the very heart of Spartan land, where this afternoon we bring you, direct from the Michigan State Stadium in East Lansing, the 1979 bloodletting between two of the oldest college football rivals in the country. Yes, sir, these Michigan Wolverines and these Michigan State Spartans have been battling on the old gridiron since way back in 1898, and some of those ball games have been out of this world. But none of the Michigan State Donnybrooks down through the decades have had any more emotional buildup than this 1979 classic about to take place here this afternoon. All the excitement, electricity, tension, and charisma that surrounds big-time college football. It's been building all week long here in the land of the Spartans, as well as down in the Athens of the Midwest in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Yes, sir, Michigan, with fire in their eyes and revenge in their hearts. They've been waiting 12 long months to get back at these Jolly Green Giants for that humiliating 24-15 loss that Michigan suffered at the hands of Michigan State last October down in Ann Arbor, and then adding insult to injury. The head Spartan himself, the head honcho, had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to say there really were arrogant asses in Ann Arbor. Oh, that's been a bitter pill to swallow for the Wolverines. They want state today. They need state today, and believe you me, the Wolverines intend to have a piece of Michigan State here this afternoon.
How great is that? Thanks to Dr. Sapp Archives.
Hunk, if you're from Michigan.
I mean, one of the best videos that you can have.
I wish I was around when he was on. That would have been fun.
Me too.
But I'll tell you, listen to Frank Beckman on WJR all those years, and
Beckman called his game.
Being part of that team, Frank could call the game with the best of them. Brandy, one of the best color commentators of all time. Steve Courtney on the sidelines. It was great times back then.
That was great. Actually, my senior year, I won the Bob Ufer Spirit Award. So it's always. I actually should have bought the plaque in, man. It's on my mantle, but
you better bring it in this week.
I'll bring it in tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, I'll bring it in tomorrow. But just just
you got your game helmet?
I do.
Do you really?
Of course. You never get rid of those things. You never get rid of those things. I kept it right after the Rose Bowl. Like, I just kept my whole uniform from the last Rose Bowl when we lost to Texas. I just took everything home, kept it in my bag, and you never part with.
Nobody asked for that back.
No, you're not getting that. Over my dead body. Plus, I was getting out of there anyway, so not happening.
Hey, you want to talk some college football?
I got my notes. I'm ready, man.
Let's do it. Put up the rankings there, Alex, if you would. Here they are. Week 9, top 25. Georgia, Cincinnati, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ohio State, top 5. And then Michigan, Oregon, Michigan State, Iowa, and Ole Miss round out the top 10.
Like if I'm a someone that they put on the panel, and I'm assessing the wins that I've seen, the way in which people have won, the way in which people lost, I'm looking at this list, and I see Cincinnati number 2. I'm like, okay, cool. They have Cincinnati 2 because they're undefeated. But wait, Alabama's not undefeated. Alabama's 3. Wait, Oklahoma's 4, but they're undefeated. And they just beat Oklahoma State, who was in the top 10. So when I look at this lesson, my immediate question is this. Why isn't Oklahoma number 2 after just beating an undefeated Oklahoma State? Cincinnati just almost lost to Navy, who's awful, and their quarterback is out in Desmond Ridder, which is one of the best players on their team, getting some Heisman talk a little bit here during the season. Cincinnati now is without Desmond Ridder. They barely beat Navy. Oklahoma's undefeated. They beat Oklahoma State. So they got to rotate that.
You're saying Oklahoma should be 2?
They're undefeated, and they just beat Oklahoma State, who was number 2. And
Oklahoma didn't beat Oklahoma State.
Not Oklahoma State. I'm sorry. Oklahoma State did. They beat Texas, but they're undefeated. That's what I meant. They beat Texas in the Red River Shootout. They're undefeated. They should go ahead of Cincinnati. Cincinnati played an average game against a bad team.
I'm done with
then
Cincinnati.
Alabama does have key wins. So if you're analyzing this the way it should be, then you have Georgia 1, Oklahoma 2, Alabama 3. I'll put Cincinnati 4, but I'll put Oregon and Ohio State at the 5 and 6, and then Michigan be 7. Oregon did beat, and I'm talking about they did beat Ohio State in Columbus without Thibodeau, so that's why I would have Oregon ranked ahead.
If you had to name the college football playoff today, who would you have in there?
Right now, you got to go Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma, and Oregon. I mean, Ohio State.
Well, Oregon beat them.
You said what?
Oregon beat Ohio State.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. I meant Oregon. So you got Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma, Oregon. That has to be.
Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma, Oregon. That's really, really hard to argue.
It's hard to argue.
And I don't understand how Ohio State is ranked 5th and Oregon is ranked behind them. That is one of the things
because
that I don't understand.
Pac-12 gets no respect.
Right. I don't understand Cincinnati at 2. The Cincinnati argument really bothers me because if you had to play Alabama's schedule, if you had to play on the road at Texas A&M, I guarantee you that's a loss.
Based off of what they did.
I guarantee you that's a loss.
Based off of what they did last year and the record that Luke Fickell had and what they played well. They had 1 loss last year, I believe, or maybe it was 2. They come in this year ranked. They uphold their schedule. They go on the road. They beat Notre Dame. They've been blowing everybody out. So I understood them being right there before this game against Navy in which they lost Desmond Ridder as well, because I know that the committee is going to come in and the committee is going to sort it all out. It's going to sort itself out. They still have to play Liberty, your boy Malik Willis. They still have to play SMU, who's also undefeated. So it'll sort itself out. But for right now, I understood it. Now I don't. I don't understand how they look bad against Navy and they're still above an undefeated Oklahoma and an Alabama and an Ohio State and an Oregon.
You want to know who the 2 best teams in the country are today? And I'll fight you on it.
1-3.
Georgia and let me see. I'm looking at the board. Number 1 and 2. I would say 1 and 3.
Wrong.
That's 1 and 3.
Wrong.
Are you gonna say Oregon or Ohio State?
Wrong.
Who?
3 and 5. Alabama and Ohio State are the 2 best teams in the country right now.
Better than Georgia?
No offense to Georgia, but they cannot score with Alabama and they cannot score with Ohio State. And if you are going to compete in that game, you are going to have to score points. Georgia cannot score points at the clip that Alabama and Ohio State can. And granted, their defense is so good.
No. And that's fine. Don't do that.
Okay.
They got the number 1 defense in the number 1 conference.
Fine.
In every category. It's not even one of those things where it averages up to being number 1. They are number 1 in every category. In the PS5, Power 5, they're number 1 in every category.
Yeah, you're playing teams like Auburn, who have Bo Nix at quarterback, who's terrible.
You know who I want?
I'm sorry. Ohio State has played who?
I mean,
the one team they played, they lost.
I'm just saying. Ohio State would put 40 on Georgia.
I mean, Ohio State is playing better now. I understand
at least 31 on Georgia.
Right now, you can't say Ohio State. Maybe at the end. Right now, you still have to say Alabama and Georgia because guess what? You're talking about they can't score. Guess what? They have a quarterback and Bryce Young who's going to win the Heisman.
Here's a better question.
You heard Brady.
Here's a better question. Could Georgia score more than 31 points against Alabama and Ohio State?
Yes.
Because I think that is a floor. That's a minimum points that Alabama and Ohio State would score in a game against
You
Georgia.
might be
Tennessee
wrong, man.
scored 17
I might
in the
be
first
wrong.
half.
Of course I might be wrong.
Tennessee scored 17 in the first half. Like, yes, Georgia can score.
Tennessee?
That's what Alabama just played. It said like Alabama could play if they could score 17 against Alabama.
Lull them to sleep.
I don't know.
How about number 21? Brady Oak.
Oh man, that's
San
a terrible
Diego
team.
State.
Yeah.
That's a terrible team,
They're
San Diego
unbeaten, too.
State.
How about Ole Miss? How about a sleeper team in Ole
They're
Miss?
terrible. I watched Ole Miss play twice.
Yep.
They suck. Seriously.
You don't like Matt Corral?
Oh my God, he sucks. Seriously.
You'll be begging for him in April when the draft hits.
You think Dan Campbell is risky, Coach? Lane Kiffin goes for it every fourth down, and I've never seen them actually.
Who's going to fire him?
I've never seen them get a fourth down conversion. Anyway, hey. Speaking of not sucking, this ManningCast is
Oh my God,
awesome. I was glued to it last night and actually watched most of the game on the ManningCast last night.
It's the show you never knew you needed. Manning, and Lynch.
And barely even turned back to the regular broadcast. I think it's almost, if you don't have a dog in the fight, it's almost the worst thing that could happen to the traditional broadcast, because if I'm Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Louis Riddick, I'm saying to myself, oh man, we're gonna the alternate broadcast is going to outrate this main broadcast one day soon.
Not only if you don't have a team in the fight, if there's not a good game on, sometimes early on in the season when you're trying to figure teams out, like sometimes a team will trick you and you're like, that team's not that good. Now I'm watching the Manning stuff. Later on in the season, you know who teams are, and a lot of times those Monday Night Football, you got some teams on there that are depleted. They're not in the playoffs. They don't play as hard. You're talking about this Manning and this Manning broadcast is about to take over.
That game last night was horrible.
Yeah.
Geno Smith couldn't do anything. They were handing it off 90% of the time to their fourth string running back. What happened to Seattle?
Just a terrible, terrible game. We'll talk about it next. Plus
I
the
love that sound.
ManningCast, Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
You know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Mads for Legacy Partners Insurance. If you're looking for new insurance or your insurance stinks, theirs does not. Legacy Partners, they are an independent agent, local, and they know the local insurance market. They have the carriers fight for your business. So if you want to give them a try, it's a free call. Give them a try, 586-209-4106, or go online to legacypartnersins.com/Woodward Sports. Fill out that little bit of information. Someone from Legacy will get back with you. Legacy Partners Insurance. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. This is the bottom line here on Woodward Sports. We are live from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.
And alive, too. We're alive.
And alive, yes.
Alive, baby.
You can watch us on YouTube and Twitter. Also on Twitch, if that
I think I've ever watched it on Twitch.
Tickles your fancy.
I have seen it once in the beginning.
Also, one of the great things to do is if you pull up the podcast app on your phone, then you just look for Woodward Sports, and you see Ermanni and Edwards, the bottom line, and you can subscribe to us. And
you don't have to watch us. You can just listen to us.
Just listen to us, audio only. Also, our app is audio only, but it's live.
Yeah.
You can listen to us live from 2 to 4, but anywhere podcasts are found, Apple, Google, anywhere you want. Spotify.
Yeah.
please do so. We'd certainly appreciate the support here on
Spread the word.
Woodward Sports. Yeah, tell a friend about us.
Basically meaning you have no excuses.
Yeah, we'll send you clips throughout the day as well on our YouTube channels, on our personal social media channels as well. If you don't have 2 hours to listen to the show, you just want to dip in for 2 minutes.
We appreciate
can
it.
Go to Woodward Sports Online at our social media channels and check us out that way as well. Guys, this ManningCast, I was sour on it, then I was like intrigued by it, now I love it.
Blown away.
The more I get, it's just fantastic. Here's a clip last night. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and where's my sheet here? The Marshawn Lynch stuff was great. We'll do that first. Here's Marshawn Lynch.
I was watching your interview with Peyton on his Peyton Places, and I learned that before games, you had a pregame ritual where you do a shot and a half of Hennessy before the game. Did you do anything to get warmed up tonight?
I will see, because I ain't playing, so I had a 3-shot minimum today. so I'm feeling real good, and so I took one for me. I took one for Big Bruh, and I got one for Little Bruh. So I made sure
perfect. Honored. I'm honored.
Yeah.
Thank you for that tribute. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, I was looking out.
How could you not love Marshawn? I've seen this tradition in person and live when I played for the Seahawks in 2012. He definitely goes into the training room with Johnny over there, has a little shot and a half, gets ready, shakes it off. He goes out there and he turns into beast mode. But it's interesting though. If you think about it, people take shots or they smoke because they have anxiety. It eases the pressure. Like you'll see a person before they MC an event, have a shot or have a drink, so they're looser on stage. It's the same thing he did. Percy Harvin talked about it. He smoked before every game. A lot of the players I played with smoked before a game. I myself never took shots or smoked before a game, but
you were willing to try.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, because it makes sense. Like it made sense. I'm not saying I didn't do that in preseason, but allegedly.
So Marshawn Lynch is a national treasure. You couldn't get him to talk when he was playing. Now you can't get him to stop talking.
Shut up, man.
He's having a great time. And I'll tell you this, Peyton Manning is one of the more – he's a freaking comedian. I mean, that
once he opened up,
that response to Marshawn Lynch. Well, thank you for that. Thank you very much. Thanks for the respect.
Him and Brady are great together too.
God.
I mean,
they're great.
They can just do. I can just listen to them
when they go to Jim Gray's house.
Yeah, I can just listen to
him. He's not
him.
home.
That's it.
No, but Brady was on. Tom Brady
was on too, yeah.
Was on last night, and I felt like I was robbing a place. Like I felt like I was listening in on a conversation that I should have had to buy a ticket for.
Yeah.
Like that
real.
was how good that conversation was between Tom Brady, Peyton, and Eli last night.
Eli was just there.
Talking about football, talking about decisions, talking about, the middle 8 that they talk about, the last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the second half, how they really approach that. And Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning wanted to win that middle 8 every single game because the team that wins that middle 8 more than likely wins the game each and every week. Also, they talked about defenses and reading defenses and what players. Oh, man, it was just it was football porn.
The good thing about
that's what it was. It was
great call.
Football porn.
Great call.
Yeah, that was great. You're 100% with the nail on the head. Is because people want to get inside greats' heads. Like people want to know what's Michael Jordan thinking, what's Kobe thinking, what's Tom Brady thinking, what's Peyton Manning thinking. What are the great ones thinking? Aaron Donald, what is he thinking before he blows up a defensive lineman? How did he get to that point? What's Phil Jackson thinking? How was he coaching? How was he able to coach that team with Rodman and Rodman trying to go to Vegas? You want to get inside their heads. And this show is providing just that. It's allowing you to get into one of the great thinkers in sports history, and that is Peyton Manning. And now you have Tom Brady, who's the GOAT, who's also one of the best thinkers that the game has ever had. You put them together, not to mention the guy that has 2 Super Bowls and Eli. How could you lose?
They were talking about, he was talking about the Manning brothers, how he always enjoyed playing against them. They actually have a winning record against Tom Brady, and everyone knows Eli's beating them 2 out of 2 in the Super Bowl.
Together or both separate they have a winning
record?
record?
They're both separate they have winning records. It's remarkable.
He has the ones that count, though.
He does. But, Eli's got 2.
Well, Eli's got 2
Two over
Super
him.
Bowls.
2 for 2.
You think about the 3 Super Bowl losses that Brady's occurred, and then
Now
2 of them are against
Eli.
Eli.
Think about the Eli games.
Samuel dropped the interception that would have won the game. But I mean,
Hey, Eli's games have a Michigan tie to them. Plexico Burress, touchdown to win it, and Mario Manningham on the other one to catch that unbelievable pass on the sideline to win that other game.
So what you're telling me is basically for Tom Brady, every time he loses a Super Bowl, because here's one you didn't remember. Philadelphia Eagles, guess who had the final sack on Tom Brady? Brandon Graham, who went to Michigan.
Sweet.
So every time he loses in the Super Bowl, it's a Michigan guy.
See, look at that. Look what we just uncovered.
Teamwork,
Look
man.
what we just
We're
uncovered.
connected, man.
There's a connection. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There he
Look
is.
who's in the house.
There he is.
Our guy, Chad Johnson.
With the Gucci boots.
Oh, man, looking so good. Looking all nice and tan.
I'm going to rob him.
From sunny Florida.
His outfit is worth more than I have in the bank.
Burberry and
Stop
Gucci,
it,
I love
man.
it.
Stop it. But we are talking about these Mannings, and one of the things, Tom Brady threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half of that game.
Without Gronk or AB.
Yeah, against the Bears. A lot of talk about the 600th touchdown ball that the fan got.
I would have kept that ball.
You can't keep it. You can't keep it. Here's what Brady had to say about that giveaway.
Did you get the ball back?
Trying to get that. We got it back, so I got it back. There was a lot of negotiation in order to get the ball
Is it in
back.
Kent?
Yeah.
Is the ball in Canton, or have you made it into
I don't know
an
what the
NFT?
rules are,
Talk about what the
but
ball
You're
is.
fine.
Okay.
It's shortly an NFT. You can autograph.io. You can go there to bid on it. There's a lot of great things, auction items, memorabilia, and there's my boy Tim negotiating with Byron, who gave to me. Byron realized he lost all of his leverage once he gave the ball away. He should have held it and then just get as much leverage as
Amateur
possible.
move. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
if he would have held it, he would have been sitting in the Tom Brady suite for the rest of the season. But amateur move on his part.
That is so
Hey,
funny.
I think it worked out pretty well. It just showed kind of what he got right there from it. But I'm also giving him a Bitcoin, which
Yeah, and that was really the big news,
Yeah,
that
the
Tom
Bitcoin he had.
Brady personally is giving him a Bitcoin.
Worth $60,000.
Worth today $62,000. So the final deal with the fan on Brady's 600 touchdown football is $100,000, $63,000 from Bitcoin. Signed Brady jersey, $10,000. Evans signed jersey and game cleats, $2,000. Buck store credit, $1,000. 2 season tickets for 21 and 22, $20,000. That's a pretty good haul for that ball.
Now, if Bitcoin pays off, if it doesn't, he's lost about $400,000.
Bitcoin goes up and down. Bitcoin will pay off for him, but I still don't think it's enough, because if you look at what those are overhyped stats. If you look at the price, it says two signed Tom Brady jerseys and a helmet. That's not worth $10,000, because I know there are memorabilia stores you can go and just get a regular jersey. It's not a specific game Tom Brady jersey. It's just a Tom Brady signed jersey. You can buy one of those at Pro Sports for $500. You 2 of those, that's $1,000. A helmet, it's another $500 that you're paying.
You just don't know what he signed and what he doesn't sign.
That's $1,500. That's only $1,500, and they had to list it as $10,000. If I was the guy with the ball that kept the leverage, I'm telling you, I will go for nothing less than $100,000 in cash, and then some of the other things that were listed on there.
Cash don't mean nothing anymore.
$100,000 in
with all
cash.
this inflation.
It's $100,000 hardcore blue hundreds. Hardcore blue hundreds, and then some of those things, because that ball, the places it can go, the things that it can be worth, even just on the market, if he were to just keep it and say, hey, if he would have did this, because they had his camera, they had his mug all over TV, they knew his face, they saw the ball. So if he posts a picture of that online, people know that it's legit. They know that that's the right ball. Man, he could have buku money for that ball.
The kicker is Mike Evans would have felt like a real turd, because he gave the damn ball up, and he's like, oh, man, he had no idea. And when Brady walked off the field after that, I watched that play. He didn't really pay much attention to it. I think they had to tell him, hey, that was number 600.
That shows you how much, that shows you what Brady focuses on. That shows you the energy there. It's not me, this icon.
Correct.
It's not me, this record-breaking guy. This, that, and the third. It's me, the Tampa Bay quarterback, and trying to win more games. I don't care about the other stuff until you tell me, oh, I guess I do care a little bit.
Can I try to take what you said and improve upon it a little bit?
We're a team.
You know what Brady's focus is? The team, the team, the team.
Bo Schembechler, baby.
Seriously,
He
I
really is something.
I mean, just...
Why did I have to hate him all these years?
God bless him.
I mean, it's seriously. Not too late, though. You caught on.
It's it's never too late, Maz.
No, it's not.
Hey,
sorry,
guys,
Tom.
I'll tell you one thing that I've missed over the last couple of nights is baseball, man.
Oh, I
World
miss
Series
it.
starts tonight. Can't wait. Game
me and
one,
Maz. It's me and
Braves
Maz
and
time.
Astros. This is very exciting stuff. Going to get into it a little bit next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
I know you guys were enjoying that pizza, but guess what? Papa Romano's has something new for you. Here's the deal. Halloween's coming up. It's Sunday, I do believe. How about the gruesome twosome? That's right. 2 large pizzas, $19.99. The pizza by itself, baby, was $16.99. 2 large pizzas, 1 topping, $19.99. Only until Halloween, baby. So get your trick or treat on, and then get you a nice little gruesome twosome. Watch some football. Call it a Sunday. Right now, baby. Oh, bye.
There you go. Braylon's got to do it.
Sounds a little bit better with the pizza and the other one. Like this one, I'm gonna just leave this for Halloween.
Gruesome twosome.
Guys, we want to get into some World Series talk right now. Maz, what did you do over the last couple of nights? I know you were really disappointed.
I was channel flipping, surfing. Last night was Monday Night Football, but the game was so bad. I went back and forth with Manning and everything, but I just had it at that point. So I just did a couple of things. I watched a little Green Hornet, a little Batman.
No hockey?
No hockey. I didn't watch hockey last night.
NBA?
No, I'm not in the mood yet. I'm not in the mood.
Can't get into hockey or the
Not
NBA,
yet.
honestly, till after the new year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
That the Christmas Day game, I think, is really when the basketball season starts.
Only if there's no football on.
This is true.
If there's football on, I'm not watching the NBA. I can tell you that for sure. But I'm ready for the game tonight. You know what? It's not an exciting matchup for the people that don't really love baseball. If you love baseball, it's a phenomenal matchup. If you're just a fly-by-night fan, you're like, oh, Astros and Braves? Who gives a darn? But this is going to be a good one. Bray, this is going to be a good one. I say it goes 7. I really do.
Listen, with the Braves and Astros, both teams have something to prove. And just like you said, like if you're not into baseball, if you're not into these teams, and it may not be the one for you, no. This is for you as well. I'm going to tell you why. Who knew you wanted to see the Phoenix Suns and the Bucks last year?
Good point.
Who knew you wanted to see the Rams and the Patriots in 2002? Who knew you wanted to see the Patriots and Carolina? You didn't know you wanted to see the Patriots and Tom Brady. Who the hell is this Tom Brady guy? You don't want to see him and the Rams. They're going to crush him. They're going to crush him. Jake Delhomme, the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. But both those games were arguably 2 of the greatest Super Bowls you've ever seen. Last year, what the Suns were able to do early, but then the Bucks, Antetokounmpo, is he healthy? Is he not healthy? The stat line on Antetokounmpo when he won last year, you didn't know that you needed that, but you did. And that's the same thing with these teams. The Astros are trying to prove they're not cheaters. The Astros, here they are again, 2 years later. Here they are again. They're trying to prove they're not cheaters. They can get it done with one of the best managers in MLB history and one of the best players as well. They're trying to prove they can get it done. The Braves, nobody cares about them. Nobody thought they should be in the playoffs. People were mad that they had home field advantage against the Dodgers. I was one of them. But now here they are. Team, collective. They are a collective unit. They're about as collective that you can get in MLB, with the exception of the Giants. I'm telling you. This is going to be a really good series, and I agree with Maz. I'm taking the Braves, but I agree with Maz.
20 years they haven't been back, and they had that pitching staff: Glavine, Smoltz. Help me.
Oh, Glavine, Smoltz, Avery, and Maddox.
Yep.
Thank you. It's hard for me to think of names. It's hard for me to think of names on the spot. If you give me 30, I mean, I think I've proved that.
I always got you guys, man.
So, it's World Series tonight. I'm ready for it.
I just think that the Houston Astros have way too much offense for the Braves. I mean,
they might.
You go top 7 guys.
Yeah.
And the Atlanta Braves are, I mean, you got Yuli Gurriel hitting 7th or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like, what?
But at the same time, this is the same Braves team that just beat the Dodgers with the same amount of offense.
Good.
Now, the difference is...
see if the lineups are out
yet. The
yet.
difference is the Astros' offense is way more consistent than the Dodgers. But the Dodgers had even more talent than the Astros in terms of bats. And the Braves were able to beat them. So they've proven that they can beat big bats. They've proved that they can beat big offense with the way that they play baseball. So don't count them out. I mean, I can't wait to see my boy Charlie Morton on the mound. I just watched the video, watching his years ago, throwing his famous sinker, and then it's now 6 miles per hour improved 15 years later.
Nice.
I can't wait
I
to
saw
watch
that
it.
too.
You
I
saw
saw
that?
it, yeah.
Went from 91 to 97.
Yeah.
Houston's lineup is not out yet, but Atlanta has just put theirs out. It's going to be Soler Freeman batting second. Albies, Riley, Rosario, Duvall, D'Arnaud, Peterson, and Swanson. How about Atlanta?
That's a great lineup.
It is really good. How about Atlanta, though? They about, what was it, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, changed their entire outfield with trades and getting these guys in there. They said, we're not good enough.
That's because Acuna got hurt.
They were like an 88-win team in the regular season, but this 88-win team is not really an 88-win team because the last 2 months they were as hot as anybody in baseball.
You got it.
With that new outfield.
I'm telling you, the Braves, but this is a good thing you do when you what's the word I'm looking for? When you discredit a team that's gotten to a championship. They're in the championship. There's no reason to discredit these guys. They've gotten there. No matter how they've done it, they've gotten there. But when you do, from a media standpoint, from players on the other team that might say something that the Braves pick up on, what you do is you unify this team. You put this team together. It becomes you versus the world. And that's how a lot of teams that win, they like it to be that way. The hell with the outside noise. I don't need them to tell us how good we are. I don't need them to tell us this, that, and the third. They don't like us. We shouldn't be here. Bet we'll use that.
Tyler Matzik is a guy you want to watch in the Braves bullpen. This guy was out of baseball 2 years ago. He's a journeyman. Comes in. He's 31 years old. They give him a chance. He beat the Dodgers the other night. Remember you and me were watching that inning? Yeah. He came in and struck out the side after Luke put him on. Put two guys on, second and third, and the Dodgers were ready to take over that game. Watch out for this Matzik guy.
Gotta love the Houston Astros, too, man. I mean, you look at their World Series 2 years ago. I mean, you got Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander, your 1-2.
Yep.
They don't have either of them guys right now. 2 Cy Young Award winners in baseball, and they're doing it with...
That's the kicker.
Yeah, that really is. Yeah. And they're doing it with offense.
It's bullpen and offense.
I expect to see a lot of offense in this series because I just don't think, the pitching is there. And the wild card in this series is the managers, Dusty Baker and your boy Schnitker.
Oh,
you love Schnitker.
I've read so much about him. He seems to be such a good guy. He came up. He did everything. He used to mop the floors, and now he's managing the Atlanta Braves. The guy's got a great story. Do I like the way he managed 2 of the games? I think he could have piddled the whole series away against the Dodgers, but we'll see. Dusty Baker trying to win a world championship in both leagues.
Like Drake said, started from the bottom.
Now we here.
Snitker, baby.
And Joe Buck and Smoltz on the call.
Who's better than that? Didn't Smoltz just release some gas or something like that? Didn't he do that in one of the games? Smoltz farted?
I don't know. Did he?
Yeah,
I didn't know
I think
that.
so. I think Smoltz farted during one of the innings.
That's awesome.
See, it would have been bad if he still was not vaccinated. He was, commentating from home.
That's
and now
right.
he's in the studio.
This is the stuff you'll get here.
Now he's in the studio.
Hold on, I gotta Google that.
You might want to hold it.
I guess he got vaccinated, because he's traveling again?
Yeah.
He must have done it. Yep, there it is. Oh, no, that was a long time ago. But either way, we all do it.
We'll find it for you.
I had his number. I called his number to see if I can get him on. Different number now.
Oh, man. That's too bad.
I know.
Too many people calling him about the vaccination.
He's a Detroiter, man. Michigan State guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be rooting for the green and white.
For sure.
Absolutely. Guys, bottom line videos of the day. We'll do it next. Having a fun day today. Great day today.
Ermanni and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
You'll be dying to get your hands on Papa Romano's gruesome twosome. This spectacular deal gets you 2 large, 1-topping pizzas for a limited time for $19.99. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, everybody, it's Maz for Underdog Fantasy. The NFL season's rolling. The World Series starts tonight. NBA and, of course, NHL, all in action. You can pick a new team every single night with Underdog Fantasy. Their slick mobile app, their user-friendly site. Join a league and draft in minutes. Plus, the folks at Underdog are going to help you get started with a free $10 when you sign up. Make your first deposit using the promo code WSN. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, the App Store, and the Google Play Store as well. Sign up with WSN, deposit $10, and get $10 free. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code WSN.
All right, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. Again, if you are listening to a radio, we will be on the radio from 6 to 8:30 p.m., 99.1, 93.5 The Roar, also 94.7 HD2 FM.
You know what's cool is I
weekdays.
got last year for Christmas, Ryan got me a gift. Obviously, my girl Ryan.
Your Ryan.
Yeah, my Ryan.
She got your Ryan too, actually.
You know, she's my woman.
Different kind of way.
Yeah, but she got me a gift, and it was one of these record players, these cool type deals. And, you know, you usually see them in like Urban Outfitters or Borders. Well,
Turntable?
I don't even think Borders exist anymore. So maybe, but they had this huge radio, like a record player. Like it's set up like a record player, but it has all music and outputs. It's like Bluetooth. There's CD player on it. It has regular radio, FM, AM. It has and tape player, cassette player. And it's a record player.
No 8-track?
No, it's not going that far. But it's this amazing thing, and you know what? I didn't think about it. I'm at the house chilling around 6 to 8:30. I'm going to start listening, man. I'm going to just pop it on. And here's why I'm in the lower level. I'm like, who has radios in the basement anymore? Oh, wait, I do.
There you go.
Awesome.
I love it, man.
Hey, before we get to the bottom line videos of the day, the Houston Astros have put out their lineup just moments ago. It goes Altuve, Brantley, Bregman. I mean, are you kidding me?
Bregman's been horrible.
He'll turn it up here. Alvarez, Correa, Tucker. My guy, I'm going to call it now. Yuli Gurriel, batting 7th. I'm going to call him the
MVP?
World Series MVP. That's where I'm going. Yuli Gurriel. Keep an eye on him.
Alvarez is the beast.
McCormick and Maldonado, who is 7 for 13 lifetime.
Great catcher.
Against Charlie Morton.
Put me down for Riley. Riley's my Super Bowl, maybe my World
Old
Series.
Blue Eyes on Atlanta.
That is my World Series MVP.
Speaking of Atlanta, we're going to take you back 30 years ago tonight in one of the most iconic calls by the great Jack Buck and one of the great World Series of all time. The Twins. Kirby Puckett is up against the Braves.
I got to
Check
stand
it
up
out
for this.
with my hero, Jack Buck, on the call.
Stand up.
Into deep left center from Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Goose pimples.
How do you not?
I remember watching this live.
I know it, man.
Rest in peace, Kirby Puckett.
I'll never forget this game. But, you know, one of my favorite guys, Dan Gladden.
The man from Gladden. Listen, Charlie Liebrandt on the hill then. Charlie Morton on the hill tonight. Game 1, Braves. That was Game 6. Of course, it set up Game 7. One of the greatest matchups of all time. And Jack Morris against...
That was my...
Come on, man. Smoltz.
That was my heyday when I was living in Lithonia, Georgia. I told you guys I became a Braves fan, and we watched that, and it was just silent in the house, and I was crushed as a young kid.
Amazing,
and we'll see you tomorrow night.
That's so
man,
good.
The great Jack Buck.
Just fit in today, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
30 years
It
ago
did.
tonight. That was on the eve of my sister's wedding. We were all getting ready for the wedding the next day, and what was I doing? I was locked and loaded on Game 6. And then Game 7, I'm sorry, Chris, to this day, I was at the bar during my sister's wedding watching freaking Game 7. I could not take my head. I am sick. 1-0 game. All right, this is for you guys. Take you back to 1997.
Uh-oh, that was a magical year, buddy.
A guy that roomed with our man Marcus Ray. His name was Charles Woodson. Check this out.
Long is right. Schultz just before Frizzell got him. And a leaping interception by Woodson, who got a foot down somehow inbounds.
James Hall once again applying the pressure.
So there's something interesting about this. I saw Schultz do an interview not too long ago. I saw the quarterback of Michigan State do an interview not too long ago. And he was talking about this particular play. Obviously, I asked him about it. It was one of those Michigan State luncheon type deals. And they asked him about it. He said, to be honest, I was trying to throw the ball out of bounds. Mm-hmm. He said, when I threw the ball, it wasn't trying to hit the receiver. The tight end was behind Wood, was getting checked, was covered well. He said, I was just trying to kind of just throw the ball out of bounds. It's what they teach quarterbacks to do. So this was a great mindset. Problem is, one of the greatest athletes to ever play college football just happened to be the guy close in proximity, and he caught that ball.
I'll never forget it. I was a freshman at Michigan. We went to East Lansing. We were at that game, and I'll never forget, we were like, why is Woodson and everybody celebrating for the guy throwing the ball out of bounds? You know, we had no idea in the crowd that he actually picked that off. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was unbelievable.
Keeping on Michigan State week, another backyard brawl. This one for the Michigan State folks. The clock game, 2001 at Spartan Stadium.
Spartan Bob.
They spread the defense. Here's Smoker looking for it. High. Oh! Touchdown, Michigan State does it. Duck it. Duck it. The Spartans upset the Wolverines.
That messed our season up because I was on the field. We would have beat them, and then the last play, like we could have beat Ohio State. It messed the season up. But you know, I don't get too mad about that play, and this is why I don't get too mad.
Because you were redshirted?
No. I got mad because I still had to deal with the losing as a player and how Coach Carr, treated that week of practice. It still was a tough week. But the reason why I don't get that mad is in situations like that, everybody focuses on Spartan Bob. You focus on the play that shouldn't have been. You focus on, he caught it, shouldn't have been. They stopped the clock, a bunch of BS. I focus on the play that happened before that when we had 12 men on the field. We could have got off the field. They needed a touchdown to win. So a field goal wouldn't have done anything for them. We had 12 men on the field, which was, I don't want to name names. It was a defensive coordinator as well as some players.
That Jim Herman?
Yeah, that's Herman.
But it wasn't solely his fault. It was another player's fault. But he confused it because the players shouldn't have been in and it should have been close. However, I focus on that play. Why do you have 12 men on the field? Like, it got them within that close in that range. It's a tougher throw. You can't throw a pop-up to TJ Duckett if you're 15 yards out. So
I'm going to find the Beckman-Brandstatter sound for that game. I was there next to these guys. We traveled, did the games together. I remember Jim Brandstatter, as they were setting up, he was like, Haygood, someone get Haygood. Oh, okay, they got him because no one was covering Herb Haygood at the time. And then Beckman does the call, TJ Duckett, and then finally he says, thievery.
We got to get that for tomorrow.
We will.
It's the same as the old State thing in terms of worrying about the play before. Everybody's worried about the spot. They missed him on the spot. They shorted him on the spot. Oh, they cheated the spot. Why the hell did you let the running back get 9 yards on 3rd and 10? That 9 yards set up that spot. You always got to focus on the whole of the equation, not just the one part.
We're driving home after that game. I'm driving. I got Courtney next to me in the front seat. I got Beckman and Brandstatter in the back seat. They are deathly quiet. Meanwhile, I just want to get home quick because the Yankees are about to wrap up the World Series. Game 6, they're up 3-2 on Arizona. I get these guys. I put the radio on. I put the radio on. They're like, shut that radio off, Maz. I'm like, okay. They didn't want to hear a thing on the way home.
I love it.
They were that mad. Then I got home, and Andy Pettitte got shelled in Game 6. Game 7, Luis Gonzalez over Jeter's head. End of that. So that's how my weekend ended.
Wow.
That was a crappy weekend.
You want to talk about one of the worst weekends of your life.
That was a crappy weekend.
How can it not be?
How could it not?
That's tough.
All right, I'm going to brighten your day now.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
We all love Shaquille O'Neal. Who doesn't?
Shaq.
I might vote for him as president. Him and The Rock could be my president and vice president.
Definitely vote for The Rock.
Shaq.
Probably be better.
Shaq is at this event. All the youth, all the kids are there, okay? Shaquille O'Neal says, I'm going to give everybody in this crowd a laptop. If this kid hits this shot.
I thought you were going to say a lap dance. I
don't want that. Laptop.
I don't want that.
All right?
Dance.
Check this out. If this kid hits this shot, Shaq's buying laptops for everybody.
This kid's got ice in his veins. Just look at him. Nothing but the bottom of the net. What I love is that he's saying, hold on. Like, wait. His foot was on the line.
Is that what he said?
No, but I love the set. He's like, hold on. Like, he's going to say the guy's foot was on the line. But Shaq's brilliant, man. Like, Shaq said, we talk about him. Shaq knows how to win in life. He's a great guy. His philanthropy and giving back. You see him all the time with these little videos. That's a hell of a video. And the good thing about it is with somebody like Shaq, you know he's telling the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if it's some other people, you might be like, nah, that's some BS. They're not going to figure it out. He's going to give all those kids and everybody in part a laptop.
He spent over $200,000 that day on giving laptops.
You know, the thing about Shaq, everything he does, he tries to make it better for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he bought that guy's engagement ring?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's not just
it was super quick. Just put it on my tab.
But it's not just about the stuff that he buys. It's about the stuff that he says. It's about the stuff that he does, you know, when nobody's watching.
He said something the other day. He was talking about his kids. He was like, I got to remind my kids all the time. He said, y'all not rich. I'm rich.
Right.
He said, now, if you want to be successful, it was like, yeah, you know, then get a business plan, bring it to me just like anybody else. And I saw people online say, man, that's messed up. Well, man, BS.
Right.
He's provided everything that they will ever need up until that point, and he's still providing. He's telling them, don't be leaning on me. Go get it yourself, but I will help you.
Well, you can lean on us this week. It is Michigan State week. We hope to have you back with us tomorrow. Hey, tell a friend about us. Tell a friend about Woodward Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, the app, online, anywhere podcasts are found. This is Ermanni and Edwards.
Yes, it is. And go check out the Braves and Astro. I'm telling you, this game is going to live up to the non-hype that it has right now. Ermanni and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network. The bottom line. This is what we do.
In there, or maybe Ben Van Summeren. Lombardi down the sideline. Caught, touchdown Spartans. Wow, what a throw. Ricky White camped under it, and the freshman from Marietta, Georgia has the touchdown.